Hello, my luxurious conjurers. I know you all are doing well. So, I want to start something kind of new on this channel. I want to share some story times, magical story times, back, when I first started practicing and just share some of the things that I did that worked, but then also some of the things I did that didn't work that I had to make adjustments to. And my purpose for doing this is to really just help the newer conjure women and men, if there's any men that listen, but just really help you guys because I really want for you guys to know that conjure work, root work, spell crafting, whatever magic, whatever you want to call it, y'all, this is a lifestyle. This is a lifelong process. This is not something that you just, do one time and poof, everything you want comes to fruition. Honestly, if that were the case, everybody and their mama would be doing it, right? So I have come a very long way in my conjure practice and in my root working. I have expanded. I have done a lot of different things. I have tried a lot of different things. So I think it would just be beneficial to hear some like real life, trial and error, positive outcomes, but also, lessons that needed to be learned. So that is what I'm going to do periodically on this channel. And so I'm just going to kick it off with one that actually I think will be helpful to those of you who are really in need right now of some sort of quick cash. If you need a bill paid, if you are, just needing assistance financially in any sort of way and you're not really sure what to do or how to get yourself, in a better financial position, I want to share with you a spell. And this is actually one I've been doing for a long time, okay? But it was actually one of my first ones that really showed quickly. It showed results very, very quickly. So this was way back when. And I remember I was really down on my luck. Back then, y'all, I used to be really broke. I used to, paycheck to paycheck. I used to have to sell stuff online in order to just get bills paid. Like I was in survival mode and scarcity mode, all the modes that you can think of where money was just low. I was there. And I was also transitioning out of manifestation work more into magical practices. So I needed to get a bill paid. Like my bit, it was one of those they're going to shut it off if I don't get this money to them by the end of the day type of situation, right? And so I remember I was sitting and, I had shed my tears. And that's one thing I want to tell you. Do not be afraid to put your emotions into your spell work. You are powerful. Your emotions are powerful. And you can actually use this to really amplify what it is that you're trying to do, whatever it is that you're trying to bring to fruition. All right. That's one thing I want you to know. So if you are down on your luck right now, and you're like, I'm trying to keep it positive, I'm trying to hold it together, babe, don't fake the funk, especially not with spirit, not with your ancestors, not with whatever deities you call on, whatever spirits, elemental magic that you work with. Don't try to fake the funk. Be genuine, come confident, that your work is going to work. But, I would really recommend that you not try to pretend oh, it's all okay, if it's not all okay. So anyway, so y'all, I was down and out because I had been working a lot and I, every time I worked, I was like, okay, I need to pay a bill. And so the money would go to this bill, that bill, that bill. And then there were these surprise things that would come up as well. I'm sure y'all can relate to that when a surprise, payment or something got to get done, something got to get fixed, that pops up on the scene too. So I remember I was sitting in my room and I was just crying and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. And this was early in the morning. And I just kept getting this feeling of candle, get a candle, get a candle. And so I went into the kitchen. Well, I had my candle. I went into the kitchen and I remember I carved into the candle that money comes to me fast, that I get the bill paid, right? So I put that in the candle. And as I've shared in previous episodes, I use the small mini tapered candles. I've been using those for a very long time. And, my magic has always been beneficial for me. So you work with, whatever type of candle working you feel comfortable with. But for me, that's what I've always used. And so I had my beeswax candle and I wrote that in there. And then I went and I grabbed, here's the spell work. Okay, I'm telling you all the spell work right now. You need your candle, whatever type of candle. I like to use beeswax candles, as I mentioned before, but you need your candle. You want to get some black pepper, salt, ginger, cinnamon, and coffee. All right. I will put those in the description box for you guys, or I'll put them up on the screen somewhere so that you have that. And this was very impromptu. Now, my foundation is hoodoo. I'm a Black woman. And so I follow my ancestral practice, but I do incorporate other elements of spell work into my working. but my foundation is 100% hoodoo. So I love to work with herbs. I love to work with, kind of kitchen witchery. I love working with the plants and all of those types of things, right? So that is the reason why I went to the kitchen. That's what I had, and that's what hoodoo is. Hoodoo is that you work with what you have, especially in a situation of survival, because hoodoo was built off of survival. So I went and I grabbed some olive oil. And for me, olive oil is another one that has always worked for me. I feel like olive oil is very universal. It is very anointing, healing, protective energy. And whatever energy you invoke into that oil is what it is. So for me, I always like to lather my candles with olive oil, and I will speak to the oil what it is designed to do. In that particular spell work, I remember saying that this is a magnetic oil. This is an oil that is pulling in the energy that I have called on, pulling in the outcome that I have written down on my beeswax candle. So that's what I said to the oil. Like, this is what your job is. And then I put all of the herbs, together. I put them in a little container and I mushed them all up and mixed them all together. And then I rolled my candle into that, mixture. And then I lit it. And I started speaking that, basically I have the money. This bill is paid. It comes to me quickly. And in that moment, you guys, I thought about how I had these items that were still sitting in a storage unit that I could sell. And so I said, you know what? Those items get sold today. Those items get sold today, and that money contributes to me getting this bill paid, because this bill is getting paid today, right? So let the candle burn. And remember, your flame is a spirit. You need to speak to your flame. So I let that candle burn out and I get dressed. You know what I mean? I go ahead, I get ready for the day. And every time I thought about it, I just kept saying to myself that, like, my Heka is powerful. My magic is powerful. It never returns to me void. And I've been saying that for years. So that's another one. It's like a really good affirmation for yourself as you are getting started in this practice, is to always hype yourself up magically. Remind yourself that you are powerful. Your words are powerful. Anything that you touch, you do, experience, anything that you put your energy into, it is powerful. So I'm just saying that throughout the day. I get pictures of the items and I post them online. Y'all, within 2 hours, I had people reaching out to me. Hey, is this available? Can I come and pick it up now? And the first person, they tried to lowball me. And so I said no. And then the second, and that's a message already right there. If you know that there's something that you're going after, if you know that there's something that you want, go after what you want. Go after what you conjured for, or you root worked for, what you have put your magical spell work into for. And the reason why I keep using those words is because those are not the same things. Conjure is different from root work, which is different from spell crafting. So, that's why you hear me kind of say it in 3 separate forms. But don't lowball yourself out of desperation. Okay. Don't ever lowball yourself, especially when you're working with like speed magic. Okay. Because that's really what this was. But the second person that reached out to me, she was like, hey, can I basically come and pick it up? And I'm like, sure. And so I said, you'll have to meet me here. She's like, okay. And then she asked me, can I pay less? And I said, no. So she said, okay, that's fine. Went, met her, gave me the money. Cool. So that's more than half the bill that I need. Right. Now, the type of work that I was doing back then, it was essentially work where you could get paid daily. And so I was like, okay, so now I know what I need to do. I just need to make this extra amount. And then I sat there and I thought about it and I was like, well, wait a second. I went and I checked my savings account and there was a little bit more in there than what I needed, to pay the rest of the bill. So I was like, okay, let me transfer some of that money. There goes my bill money right there. There's my bill money, and still was able to keep, some money in my savings account. So I did not completely deplete myself. Hello. This is your future Conjure Woman stepping in. I actually wanted to do a quick clarification of this segment of the story time. As I was editing it, I realized that I really did not specify like I should have specified. You guys, the savings account that I was referring to, that is a savings account that I had not touched in almost a year. I honestly had just kind of forgot about it because at that time in my life, I was not saving any money. So I really had no intention, no need, I felt at the time, to ever look at it, to ever see if there was money in there. So I wanted to clarify that because magic does not always just give you the physical dollars and cents. Sometimes magic is giving you clarity. Magic is showing you a door that's actually open that you didn't know was open. It is revealing things to you. So the things that you thought were maybe hidden, magic can show you that. Magic can put you in a position to be at the right place at the right time. It can put you in a position to answer your phone for the right person at the right time. So I want you to remember that as you are performing your spell work, leave room for the possibility possibilities. That's also why I always like to say from all four corners of the earth, north, south, east, and west, through all elements, earth, air, water, and fire, this happens for me. This comes to me because the possibilities of how it can come truly are endless. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Let's go ahead and continue with the story time. So if you are looking for, some quick work, if you need some money to come to you quickly and you have vehicles, you have avenues to be able to bring that money to you, I want to recommend that you utilize the spell work. So to recap, you're going to need your candle, any candle of your choosing. Beeswax candles are naturally yellow. So at that time, and even still, whenever I do it, if I ever need anything like a quick outcome, and this is not just money, if you need a quick outcome, if you need a quick turnaround, you can still utilize this working. That's just what I used it for back then. And every now and again, I will still utilize it if there's something, quick that I need to come to me. So color was really not a factor at the moment. If I'm being honest with y'all, like I wasn't thinking about color magic. I was honestly thinking about like, there is a need that needs to be fulfilled quickly, and so it be done. So the herbs that I mentioned, most of those herbs are very action-oriented, fast-moving, like expeditious energy. Your black pepper is one, ginger is one, cinnamon, coffee. These herbs are fast. They move fast, okay? Salt is always good to add, even if you're just adding just a sprinkle, because salt is protection. One thing about black pepper, though, black pepper is also protection work too. Black pepper specifically helps to protect from existing assets. So if you are someone that is trying to create, any sort of income, any kind of money, but you want to make sure that your current existing assets are still protected as you're generating this new money, do not be afraid to throw some black pepper into your spell work around like money magic. And one other thing I want to recommend is to make sure that you are speaking directly to each herb. Call them out. Call them out and declare what they are going to do for you. So this is where you will say that, Ginger, you are going to bring this money to me fast. You're going to bring it to me in a way that does not require me to have to overwork myself. It doesn't require me to be depleted. And black pepper, you're going to work in conjunction to ensure that my assets are protected as new money comes to me quickly. Salt, I am protected in its entirety around any sort of income generation activity that I have, whatever. Like you come up with your own words, whatever resonates best with you, but make sure that you're speaking and directing what it is that is going to happen and how this is going to play out for you. And make sure that you're talking to your flame as you're doing that. I always, always, always love to say from north, south, east, and west, all four corners of the earth work in my favor to ensure that I get the outcome that I desire. That is something that I love to say. I also love to call on earth, air, water, and fire and thank them for their participation in ensuring that I get all that I desire. One of the benefits of this particular working is you really don't have to call on any deities. You know what I mean? There's no other like external spirits necessarily that you have to call on, that you have to give offering to. Now, one thing I will say, actually, let me throw that in there. Now I'm thinking about offerings. So always keep a glass of water. Any sort of work that you're doing, you always want to have a glass of water. I always like to actually utilize something that represents all four elements, that air, earth, water, fire. But when you're done with your spell work and you have that glass of water, one thing that would be beneficial as a form of offering is to pour libation. So essentially you can take it to a plant, you can take it to the base of a tree and just pour the water out. You know what I mean? Even if you have to do it on the grass, on the ground, if you don't have a tree near you or a plant near you, you can always just take the water and just pour it into the grass. And then thank the earth. You know what I mean? Thank the earth for everything that it is doing to ensure that you receive what it is that you want.